Welcome back to a very special edition of Life in Pictures.
Very special.
Today, we have a guest that is going to blow your mind. My bestie and co-host of What's the Deal with This Pop Life and lots of other podcasts, the one and only Stephanie Walsh. Welcome to the party.
You guys make it sound like I have millions of followers, kind of like the subject of the film we're discussing. Yeah, I don't think it's that serious. But hi, thank you for having me. I'm
You're
sorry, my
welcome.
voice is a little. I don't know what's going on with me today. Like it sounds like I went to a concert last night, and I swear I was not screaming in the theater at all. I don't know what is going on, but
It's
I'm a little
allergy
scratchy.
season.
Yep.
Well, we all went to
I know.
see the same movie yesterday, but not together.
Yes.
Well, some of us were together, but not the three of us.
We're
And,
always together in spirit.
yeah, we made sure we all saw it on the same day.
Yes. So I
It was
think
fully planned out. We
we
talked
are
about it a long time.
all very excited. It is opening weekend of this movie that we have been waiting for a long time. The 90s kids in us are very excited. This movie is
Girl, he is an 80s artist. If you're gonna go,
but we were 90s kids.
80s and 90s, I'd say.
Fair. We were 90s kids.
Or timeless. You could go with timeless also.
He's timeless,
timeless.
okay? So today we're talking about Michael. And if you don't know who Michael is, then goodbye.
You should know.
I have to say, actually, I got the text from you guys yesterday. It said, "Have you seen Michael yet?" It took me a good, I don't know, maybe a full minute when I was like, "Who is Michael? What are they talking about?" And I was like, "Oh, the movie."
We're like, your dad's dead. You wouldn't be talking to me about your brother.
Well, so there's a, I guess I don't want to shout him out, but there is someone from middle and high school that I've been playing Pokemon Go with over the internet named Michael. So his name, like, he was the first person I thought of for a second. I was like, she would not be asking about him. But yeah, so it just took me a second when I saw the text, and I was like, oh no, the movie, duh, yes, I want to see it so bad. So
Well, if you have someone special in your life named Michael, you can go see them too. But we're talking about the movie based on the life and times of Michael Jackson.
Michael.
and you could also confuse anyone in your life if you do know Michael personally and say like, hey, what did you think of Michael? Or
Michael
it could
Joseph
really turn into some fun
Jackson.
conversations.
Michael Joseph Jackson. The original MJ.
Yes.
So
if you probably should be familiar with who Michael Jackson is, but if for some reason you're not, he is the king of pop. He is arguably one of the biggest artists that has ever existed in the world. And so now
the greatest of all time.
they've made this movie based on his life and his career, and us being fans of him, we went to go see it. I think, well, actually, let's say our thing that we always say first.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alerts. We're going to talk about this movie as if you have already seen it. So if you haven't seen it and you want to know what happens, I mean, it is a biopic, so you probably kind of know what happens.
If you haven't seen it,
But if you care about knowing what happens or not knowing what happens, stop now and go see it and come back. Otherwise, stay with us and talk about it.
Yes.
You've been warned.
You've been warned. But honestly, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably have heard us say that a bunch of times, and you know the routine.
You know the drill.
So anyway, yeah, back to Michael Jackson. So I think it might be a good idea to talk about what made you a fan in the first place. Like, how did you first hear of him, and what are like some early memories of why you were a fan in the first place?
I mean,
Am I going first?
Yeah, you go first.
Yeah, you can go.
So I definitely became a bigger fan, or I guess like a more conscious fan, when Dangerous was coming out, because that's the right age, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like people start to like listen to their own music around like 8 to 10 is when you start to really, maybe a little later for some, I don't know. For me, Dangerous was coming out, and I like the music videos were so cool. And then I don't know, maybe you guys can help me with this because I don't remember details, but I do remember that MTV filmed from Neverland, and I don't know why. Like, I don't know if it was a birthday or if it was because of Dangerous or what, but like they were there, and it basically became like Michael Jackson TV, not just MTV. And it was like all you could see when you watched it. And I was glued to that television. I must have watched every single video, saw John Norris and Kurt Loder talking. And the funny thing is, they never had him on camera, which in the film he kind of says, like, I don't want to do interviews. I don't want to be in the press, whatever. But they were given permission to film from Neverland, and they took full advantage. But he was never like a part of the programming. But they showed all his videos and they talked about him. And
Yeah, I don't know.
do you guys remember that?
That sounds kind of familiar, but
I don't think I was really allowed to watch too much MTV when I was younger, and since I
That's
was the
fair.
oldest, there wasn't really somebody else watching it. But I do remember hearing his music on the radio. I do remember, like, I loved his sparkly clothes and his glove, and sparkle and glitter. That's totally me. And then the music was always like fun. And then once I was old enough to watch music videos, his music videos were always like little mini movies. And then I feel like that music is just his music, lots of other artists that we've talked about a lot on our other podcast. Like, that music is just so nostalgic for me.
yeah.
And there's just like nothing like it. Like, there is not music like that anymore.
You don't really see people that are that big of a celebrity
Right.
anymore,
There are
you
not
know?
true superstars.
It's almost
anymore.
hard to explain to somebody who didn't live through it, like just how big of a celebrity he was.
That's true. Yeah, I remember. Okay, sorry, I did just Google, and it was Neverland '93. So a little after Dangerous, but they spent the weekend at Neverland in '93, and I guess they just aired that, over and over and over again.
Right.
Yeah.
It was for a contest. Two people won a trip to Neverland and got to spend the night in the Twilight Zone bedroom, and it was like that's what this was for. Like they just did this whole thing because of that. But anyway, I was gonna say once I got into it, I remember watching concert footage, like Michael Jackson live concerts, and the people crying and losing their minds in the audience.
Yeah.
And as a child, I was like, why are they crying? As an adult, I fully understand,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's unreal. Like even like Beatlemania and stuff. It's just so different with Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, the first time, not the first time that I had heard of him. I mean, because obviously, like we were saying, he was a gigantic superstar. Like there's no way you wouldn't have been exposed to his music. But the first time I really remember thinking that I wanted to check it out more in depth was when he was at the Super Bowl halftime, and I just remember watching that, thinking like, "Oh man, this is just like a really great performance." Like maybe I should look into more of this. And I remember I think the first album that I had was also Dangerous, because that at the time that was the album that he was promoting. But then I remember going back and getting Bad and getting Thriller, and I knew some of the songs on there already, but listening to the rest of the albums, and it probably was among some of the first albums that I got for myself, and just reading the liner notes and learning the lyrics and saying, oh, he wrote all of these songs himself, or most of them himself. And I think also, like, at the time, a lot of the other kids at school were listening to it as well, so that was pretty cool. And so yeah, and I remember like you were saying with the music videos, it was really cool. You put a lot of effort into them. They were kind of like mini movies. And I remember one movie that he made was called Moonwalker. That was pretty cool. And it was like he has to save kids from Joe Pesci, the drug dealer. And then this is where I think maybe personally he didn't die, because we see in Moonwalker he has the ability to turn into a spaceship. So he might have he might be out there orbiting Earth as a spaceship right now. We don't even know.
David Bowie, they say, is living on another planet, so you never know.
Yeah, I mean it's possible. There's video evidence that he can do it. So
And actually, speaking, not that we want to detract from this, but did you know David Bowie was one of the artists at MTV, like that called out MTV for not playing black artists, and he like mentioned Michael Jackson specifically.
oh really? I did not know that, but that's pretty cool.
You should look up that there's like a video clip of him being like, "What do you like? They're talented. Like, why are you not playing it?" And the VJ or the interviewer is just like, I don't know. I have no authority.
I don't know. I just work here.
I have nothing to do with that. I think probably my favorite memory of Michael Jackson was I actually met him. I met him.
Yeah, I mean, you win there.
In 2003. He came into a movie theater I was working at that we actually worked at together for a little while. And
yeah, I turned you on to that job. You're welcome.
Yeah, it was great. And so I remember.
And your wife, man, she's done a lot for you.
She has. Thank you very much. So anyway, back to the story here. So this movie theater was in Boca Raton, Florida, and there had been kind of people talking that he had been seen in the area during that week, and we were all kind of like, oh man, that'd be really cool if he comes in here, not really thinking it would happen. And one of the people that worked there was like, oh, you mean if he comes in again? And we're like, what do you mean again? He was like, yeah, he was here earlier this week. We're like, yeah, shut up, man. He wasn't here earlier this week. Like, whatever. And then a couple of days later, I went into work. And so the way that this theater was laid out was they had regular theaters on the first floor. And then on the second floor, they had a restaurant. And the seating, it was balcony seats for the regular theater. So you could bring your food from the restaurant in there. It's kind of a little more upscale than the first floor. And go ahead.
I was gonna say, basically, like how movies are now, like how movie theaters are now, is what we worked in at the premiere at the Movie Co. in Boca Raton.
Yeah. And
it was like assigned seating. It was like love seats. It was very fancy. And it was the only one of its kind in 2003.
Yeah, you kind of take it for granted now, but it was fancy then.
Yeah.
And so I remember coming into work and like nobody was around. I was like, where is everybody? And they're all in this theater. I'm like, well, why are they in there? Oh, well, they're looking down in the off of the balcony trying to see Michael Jackson. And I had the same reaction, like, shut up, man. They're not looking at Michael Jackson. He ain't here. And so I went in the theater and I looked down and I'm like, yeah, he ain't here. I don't see him. And they're pointing him out. So I was like, oh my God, Michael Jackson's down there. No way. And so I was like,
I will always be amazed that he didn't go to the premiere.
Yeah, and he didn't go to the premiere. He went to the regular theater with everyone else. He didn't have any.
Because we had celebrities up there all the time.
Yeah.
And actually, Janet Jackson had been upstairs like a week or so before that, I think.
Yeah, and he didn't have any kind of crazy security or entourage or any. He had a few people with him, but it wasn't like what you would expect.
Was his guy from the movie there? Bill or whatever?
I don't know. I feel like they had a guy from the theater that went around with them.
Well, I mean, they might have because Brian, our buddy Brian, he had to play security for Britney Spears when he worked at the theater in Times Square.
Yeah, I remember him saying that. Yeah.
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 So it might have been somebody from the theater.
He might have had. I think he had some of his own people with him too, but it wasn't like a big deal, you know. Like I don't think he was trying to walk around like, look, I'm Michael Jackson. It was just sort of like, I'm here to see a movie, you know, like, and, do
you remember what movie he was seeing?
It was one of the Matrix movies. I don't remember if it was Reloaded or Revolutions, but one of them. And I remember looking down and seeing him in the theater. And I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. Because, you know, at this point I don't know, 19 years old, I guess. And I'd been listening to his music and stuff since I was probably about 9 or 10. So, you know, it'd been most of at least half my life at that point. And I was like, oh man, this is crazy. Like, can we go talk to him or what? And of course, all the managers like, no, 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 don't do that. Leave him alone. You can't go down there. So I was like, yeah, right. Anyway, I gotta go use the bathroom. I'll be right back. I'm totally not gonna go try to meet Michael Jackson. And there was this one of the guys that I worked there with. We had been talking about it earlier in the week, saying they're like, "Oh man, we got to meet him if he comes in here." So I went and found him. I was like, "Dude, he's here. We got to do it. We got to do it now." And so we went down. We went down to the first floor. And we found the theater he was in, and we tried to go in, and there was a manager at the entrance, and he's like, "Yeah, y'all can't go in there." And we were like, "Yeah, okay, sure. We're not gonna go in there." And then he turned his back for a second to do something, and we ran in the theater. And they had, I don't know if you've ever been in theaters where they have the kind of the stadium seating, but then they have the entrance to the seats on like both sides, and they have that little tunnel in the
Right.
back,
Yeah, to go because like the other side starts further up the seats. Is that what you mean?
And so we ran across the tunnel in the back to the other side, so I guess he didn't know we were in there. And so we were standing on the side, just kind of looking at him. Like, we couldn't believe he was just sitting there, like, right in front of us. And we were like, man, what are we going to do? We got to do something. Like, we snuck in here. We're almost there. What are we going to do? And we still had our uniforms on, like the uniform was like a dress shirt with a vest, like the movie vest and everything. And I had a t-shirt on underneath it, and so did my friend. And I was like, all right, I know what we got to do, dude. Take your shirt off, and then you'll have a t-shirt on. It's not going to look like you work here. He was like, all right, cool. So we did that, and we stashed him.
Wasn't it Joe?
No, it was Ricky. Did you know Ricky?
Oh, no, I don't think I always remember the story with Joe. I don't know why.
Joe didn't work at Movie Co. He worked at UA.
I know, but I thought you got him he definitely worked there.
Not Movie Co.
Maybe after you left, because I swear to God that kid worked there.
Or he didn't work there with me. I don't know. Maybe he did afterwards.
Weird.
But
Yeah, I don't know.
so we stashed our shirts in the railing between the steps.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, we're almost there. And we just kind of stood there looking at him for a while, not really knowing what we were going to do. And so finally, it was the previews were playing. So we were like, well, if we're going to do it, we better do it before the movie starts. Like, I ain't trying to interrupt his movie, And
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
so my friend Ricky went up behind him, and he was like, hey man, can you sign this for me? And all of the people around him were like, oh, leave him alone. Go back to your seat, blah, blah, blah. Which I was like, oh, cool, it worked. They don't think we work here. They're telling us to go back to our seats, so it worked. But they're all like, yeah, leave him alone. And he was really cool about it. He was nice. He was like, no problem. I'll sign it. Absolutely. Nice to meet you. The nicest. I mean, I met him for like 15 seconds. But just my own personal experience with him.
He was very kind.
He was the nicest person that you would, he didn't have an ego. Clearly he was sitting in the regular theater, And so I was like, well, it's now or never. I better, if I'm going to do it, I need to do it now. So, hey man, can you sign this for me too? Oh yeah, no problem. Signed it, gave it back. And we were like, oh, thank you so much. It's so nice to meet you. Big fan for, and just kind of booked it out of there and got back to work. And, nobody was the wiser, but, I still have that autograph framed, and I have I have the marker that he signed it with framed as well.
Nice.
And it's
did you put it away right away? Like, did you have Michael DNA or?
Yeah, possibly. Maybe we can make a little clone or something. I don't know. But
that would be awesome.
But it's just like I love telling that story. It was such a cool experience, and I have that autograph, and I mean, you're not going to get one anymore, obviously, so it's really cool.
But also, like, that just highlights what a different time it was, because there was no social media. Yes, there was paparazzi, but I don't think there wasn't paparazzi in Boca Raton, Florida. Like, but now
we had celebrities up in the premiere
all the time. All the time. Remember Mandy Moore used to hang out there when she dated the tennis guy?
Andy Roddick.
Yeah.
Yes. And and that was because she was under 21 and there was not really a whole lot they could do.
Yeah.
like when she was in Boca.
Right.
So yeah, they came in like 3 times in a week once, I think. She was also very sweet. Andy was not so much. But and we didn't, in uniform anyway, we didn't really bother them, you know, like I definitely talked to a few, but I never got like autographs, and like our phones didn't have cameras where you'd be like,
Yeah.
ooh, selfie
Yeah, cameras were
So-
very new at that time, and not cameras in general, but
on
like
phones.
we're not that old. But like these camera
They
things
just
came
invented
out. It was
this
crazy.
thing.
Well, I feel like even having a digital camera was kind of like and you wouldn't have
Yeah.
carried it
That was
with
like
you.
early digital
Yeah.
cameras. Like you
Right.
didn't carry them with you to
Right,
work.
Right.
And I feel like even
Um,
having a phone. I mean, phones were starting to be a little more common, but not like they are now. You know.
Yeah, I recall having the cell phone though, like
Yeah.
definitely. I had one since I was
A
like
flip
16,
phone,
but
maybe,
it didn't
but
do
yeah.
anything.
I had
Yeah.
like a Nokia. You know. I think you used to have to
Right,
pay like
exactly.
a dime every time you texted somebody or
Yeah.
something. You know.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask you, because like I said, we had celebrities upstairs, and you could. I remember Joey Kramer from Aerosmith. He saw Chicago, the movie
Yeah.
Chicago.
I remember you telling me he
And
came in, and at first you thought it was Joe Perry, and then it was like, oh no, it's just Kramer. It's not
no,
Perry.
no, but it also when I came in, everybody was like, the guy from Aerosmith is in Chicago, and I was like, no, he isn't. I've seen Chicago. He's not in that movie. Like they're like, no, he's in there, and like pointed at like the auditorium. I was like, oh, and yes, I assumed Joe Perry because no one was saying the name. Then somebody said Joe, and I'm like, Joe Perry, but no, it was Joey Kramer. But when he left the theater, like the auditorium, when he was going to leave, I swear he had like an aura around him.
Yeah.
Like if you did not recognize his face, you knew he was somebody just by like the way he carried himself. Could you like, obviously you know what Michael Jackson looks like, but did he have that like otherworldly like vibe about him or
Yeah, it was very surreal. It was just sort of like this guy sitting right, it's like 3 feet away from me. This person that you've seen all over TV and movies and obviously listened to his music and stuff that whole time. And it's almost like you don't really. I guess it's kind of that way when you see celebrities in general. You don't really think. I don't know how to phrase this. Not that you don't think of them as real people, but it's sort of like when you go to Disney World when you're a kid and you see Mickey Mouse and you're like, oh my God, it's Mickey Mouse right there. You know, it's like.
what do you mean when you're a kid? I still feel that way.
Yeah,
Just to make you out.
and it's just like I can't believe this is happening. Like that's the guy right there. Like,
And like all he wanted was to be a regular person.
yeah,
and
he
Yeah.
just sat right there in the regular theater with didn't rent out the place or anything crazy like that.
Yeah. And no, like, so it was already seated. Were people like when you guys were like watching from above and stuff? Were people approaching him, or nobody was bothering them at all?
I think maybe a few
Because I imagine the
people.
entire theater would have been like, "Holy shit!" The
Yeah.
whole time.
It wasn't really like
It was the middle of the day, right?
no, it was at night.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was like early in the shift, but it was a night shift. But maybe like 6 or 7, something like that. I think a few people, did, but it wasn't like there was a line of people at his seat or anything, Or at least when we were in the theater. I don't know if maybe people were bugging him before
Yeah.
that, but
But like, think that
Well,
could
like-
never happen now.
yeah.
Social media ruins everything for celebrities.
Well, I mean, that's not entirely true. People like celebrities can go places, but yeah, like I remember, again, not to deviate too much, but I saw Little Shop of Horrors off Broadway a couple years ago, and as I'm leaving the theater, the people that were sitting further up were walking down, and I was walking up, and I basically met Billy Joe Armstrong of Green Day in the middle, and it was during COVID time, so we had masks on, but like his eyes.
Yeah.
And we looked at each other, and I just very quietly was like, "Are you Billy Joe Armstrong?" And he went, "Yeah, what's up?" And like, very quick hello, and I just walked away because I was not entirely sure what to do with myself.
Yeah.
But when I walked out, there was a group of kids waiting to the side with Green Day albums and stuff. So somebody somewhere
I must have put the word
knew
out.
he was there, and yeah, exactly. So like that is the kind of stuff that happens
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Did he end up signing for them or did he just leave or what?
No, he did sign.
Yeah.
I don't think he took any pictures, and it was very brief. He just kind of was like, bye.
Yeah.
But and I was in such a haze of like, oh my God, that I didn't even like it wasn't fully computing. I tried to call you, I think. I
Yeah.
ended up texting
No, I remember
you,
you
but like
telling me
my
that.
hands were shaking.
Yeah.
Well, also just for our audience that doesn't know, Stephanie meets like everyone. She lives in New York
I
City,
do.
so like, maybe that makes it a little bit easier, but she's always meeting somebody.
Yeah, but even back in the day when I worked like I was the only one working when Shaquille O'Neal walked in. Like, why?
Yeah. I remember when you told me about that.
And nobody else was there. And the manager was like, he came over to check and then he was giving me crap. Like they were convinced that Shaq like tipped me for like, I don't know, showing him to a seat or whatever. Shaq didn't give me anything. And I even served him. Like I went and got him popcorn and soda. Like I was like, yeah,
Freaking
sure, no
Shaq,
problem. I'll
man.
take care of that for you. And they're like, well, how much did he give you? And I was like, he didn't give me anything. And they didn't believe me. But like they were grilling me. They're like, you're not gonna get in trouble. We just want to know. And I'm like, I'm not lying to you. Like he didn't give me anything. And I don't know if you've seen lately, there's all these videos of how like generous he is with his money. And I'm like,
Maybe he's changed his ways in his old age.
yeah, maybe. He wasn't back then. He didn't give me anything.
I met
He asked me if he could smoke in the theater. And I was like,
yeah, I don't think you can do
you can
that.
smoke in the restaurant over there. And he was like, can I smoke this in the theater? And he's holding up a cigar. And I was like,
Yeah. No.
I mean, you're not supposed to, but I'm not gonna
telling
stop
you no.
Like I don't have the authority to make that decision.
I came up to like his elbow. I'm not
Yeah.
about to tell this man he can't do whatever he wants in the theater.
Right. I met Chris Carrabba from Dashboard Confessional came in one time.
Yeah, I met him too. And I introduced him to one of our colleagues who claimed to be a huge Dashboard fan, and she did not care.
Yeah.
And it was very awkward. He's probably my most awkward celebrity encounter.
I remember a lot of people there didn't really know who he was, and somebody from the concession stand was asking, "Hey, does anybody listen to Dashboard Confessional? Do you know?" I was like, "Yeah, I know who that is." Like, "Oh, he's in the theater over there now." I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And then when he came out, I asked that he signed a paper for me because I asked him in it. He was real nice, yeah. And I just said like, "Oh, hey, man."
No, he was very nice.
Yeah.
I should have just walked away, and I did not. I was like, "Oh, you don't understand. My colleague, she loves you so much. She loves you so much." And like, he was down to like go over and meet her.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm talking like way too much. It was so like I'm embarrassed still. And this was what 20 something years ago. So.
This is a story with Joe though. I remember because Joe was the one that introduced me to that band, and I was showing him, "Hey, I got his autograph. Check this out." And he signed it like, "Hey, Travis, thanks for listening," with like a heart, and then Chris Carrabba, like, "Love Chris Carrabba." And then Joe was like, "Oh, he didn't put a heart on the one I got," and I was like, "He doesn't love you."
Yeah, well, he thought because I was looking at him in the lobby. I was about to leave my shift. This is what like he came in. It might have been the same night, man. Like I might have been leaving and you might have been coming on. But I'm in the lobby talking to the manager because remember the manager desk was like up front.
Yeah.
And I look over at him and he's looking at me and we're just looking at each other for a minute before it finally clicks because they had just won a Moon Man, like literally the week before.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm looking at him like, why do I know this man? And I was like, oh, he's from Dashboard Confessional. And I apologized for like the awkward eye contact. I said, I'm sorry, are you from Dashboard Confessional? I don't even think I knew his name.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh yeah, that's me. He was like, sorry, you look really familiar too. I thought maybe we went to high school together.
Yeah, because he's from down
from
there.
Boca,
yeah. And
I think they're from Del Rey, maybe.
He worked at the after school. He was an after school counselor at the elementary school that I went to when I lived in Boca. Like not obviously not at the same time, but
right. Well,
that was an interesting tidbit that I learned later on.
Well, we could do this all day.
Yeah. Anyways,
I was just gonna say.
Anyways, Michael Jackson was a big star. I met him one time. We've met other celebrities. We kind of went off on a tangent there, but yeah. So that's my background.
Well, yeah, your story definitely wins. Although I will also say I really loved the song from Free Willy, and I loved the music video that's spliced in the video from the film. So I remember that one playing a lot that weekend that he was that they were in Neverland.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I don't think the movie had come out yet or was about to. And I was like, what is this with this whale? And this song is so nice. What is it?
It's a good movie.
I took my daughter roller skating today, and they played Earth Song while we were skating, and I was like, oh, it's a Michael Jackson song. We got to skate to this. Check this out.
I don't know how to roller skate, so that's nice. That
She didn't know how to
kids
either,
do
but
that.
I showed her. Yeah.
But she did it with you, so that's nice.
Yeah, we got it eventually.
Yes.
We both
Um,
almost fell a few times, but neither one of us did. So.
Nobody came home with any broken bones.
Yeah, it was fun.
I feel like it would be impossible to say like you have one favorite Michael Jackson song, but do you have like a couple of favorites?
Oh man, I was talking to you yesterday about the Moonwalker movie and how the Smooth Criminal video came from that movie, and I was like, oh man, it was so cool how like he comes in and he flips the quarter and it lands perfectly in the jukebox, and they have the whole
was just
place
that
just goes
talented.
from this like this old kind of abandoned club to a vibrant like 1920s speakeasy, and they're all dressed up in the with the fedoras and the suits and they get it. I don't know. I guess that's more about the video than the song, but like
Yeah, it's a good song.
yeah.
We had we put like on a mix of Michael Jackson songs as we were driving to the movie theater yesterday with the kids. And like every time a song would come on, I would be like, oh, damn, this is like the best song. And then the next song would come on and be like, what? No, this is the best song.
Yeah.
They're just so good.
And there are so many
There's
that are
so
so good.
many. There's so many that are so good. It's hard. I wouldn't be able to pick. Like I wouldn't be able to pick one.
Yeah, I don't know if I
Do you
could
have a
pick
top
one.
three?
I mean, I feel like you could just say the whole Thriller album almost.
Yeah,
like,
I'm thinking like Beat It, Thriller, Smooth Criminal, maybe. But then Billie Jean, I don't know.
so many.
I don't know. That would be hard
My
to
late
say.
sister's favorite song, Melissa, you guys both knew her. Human Nature was her favorite.
That's a great song.
And
Did
it
you
is
see
such
that
a
John
great
Mayer
song.
played that at his service?
Oh no, I didn't, but
Yeah.
that's probably lovely. I was excited when they played it in the film last night.
Yeah.
I really like The Way You Make Me Feel. Like
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
a really good
one
song.
too.
Yeah. The funny thing about that song is it starts out so kind of like you think you're gonna hear like a metal song or something. Like it starts out so badass, with the drums and and then just about the time you start thinking, oh man, something crazy is gonna happen. He comes in with the hee, and you're like, oh, it's Michael. Okay, yeah, he's not as threatening as this song would make you think originally.
Well, and I think
with the intro,
him and Britney doing that together on stage, 100% love that. And then remember when he came out during NSYNC's
I know Lance describes him as being very, very odd. I remember like he did an interview or something somewhat recently where he was talking about he was kind of weird. He was like got a very weird vibe from him, but that he wanted to be around NSYNC so badly. So he was basically willing to do whatever he was like asked to do to like be like part of their thing.
I was telling the kids about
But
when
I guess
Jack Black the next year, he was like, I'm getting the Super Genius of the Universe Award.
see, but I think that was so messed up what they did to him.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was funny when he did that. It was, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the whole backstory, but
Oh, and like Remember the Time. Not only
Yeah.
is that an excellent song, that video,
yeah.
that's iconic stuff right there.
And Naomi Campbell and Eddie Murphy and
Excuse me, that was Iman. Naomi Campbell was in
that wasn't
Keeping in
Naomi
the
Campbell.
Closet.
Who was it?
No, it was Iman. It was David Bowie's wife.
Oh, okay. My fault then. I thought it was
Naomi Campbell was the one in the closet video. Keep it in the closet.
All right then.
You're just conflating the two videos. It's okay.
I remember in the video for Jam, Michael Jordan was in it,
Oh, Jam, that's another.
and Heavy D did the rap on it too. He always had such great guests on his albums too.
Well, but honestly, if Michael Jackson asks you to do anything,
Oh, for sure.
especially like at that point,
Yeah.
anyone would
Like literally,
100%.
that's like if Michael Jackson
You
was
drop
like,
stuff
be
to
on
do
my, be
things
in
for
my
Michael
video for
Jackson.
3 seconds, you've made it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But
So
actually, Iman just posted a video about that video on her Instagram. You should absolutely watch it, Travis. You would appreciate it. But she said the same thing, like him and the director, who is important and famous, and I can't remember his name, but they called her on a conference call to ask her to be the Queen of Egypt.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm sitting next to David Bowie, and Michael Jackson is on the phone asking me to play a queen. Of course I'm saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
like what is life?
Or like
Exactly.
the video for Black or White where he's morphing into the different people. That was cutting edge technology at the time.
Oh yeah,
That was a
really
big
was.
deal. I mean,
No,
now it's just
he
sort of
was
like, yeah,
so
whatever.
innovative.
But
He was a genius, like
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, and
But-
clearly was just born with the most talent in the world.
Yeah. I think that
So
we definitely got to see in the movie that no matter what kind of genius you have, you always kind of have those hardships, right? The movie itself had a budget of $200 million. And remember, as we are recording this, it is still opening weekend.
Yeah.
And at the box office, it has already made $97 million here in the US and $217 million worldwide. And again, opening weekend at the theaters. Which
yeah,
we
they're
saw.
projecting 500 million worldwide.
Yeah.
Like that's what they're projecting for the weekend, but we'll see.
It's obviously in theaters right now. We saw it with our Regal Unlimited, not sponsored. The cast.
Me too.
Let's talk about the cast because I think that the casting for this was absolutely brilliant.
Well, you know what's funny? The moment that they showed his mother, for a split second, I went, "Oh, is that Angela Bassett?" And it was not. It was Nia Long. But apparently, Angela Bassett played her in the miniseries that was on TV.
The
a few years
Jacksons
ago.
and American Dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And I thought she looked like her for a minute, and then I was like, "Oh, that's not her. That's Nia Long."
Well, I think
But
Jafar did a brilliant job of bringing Michael to the screen. It was incredibly believable. He looks and sounds so much like him. Man, wouldn't that be so hard?
see, he actually doesn't like the kid without makeup and stuff.
Right,
He doesn't
right.
look that like he looks like a Jackson.
Right.
But like
they-
that's the makeup department did incredible work.
Yeah. And I mean the choreography as well. I mean, it was like watching the performances again,
Yeah,
almost.
And I keep seeing people's reviews, like just regular people, not the media, because the media is trying so hard to be mean about this movie, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, people keep saying that like they forget a couple times watching it that it's not him.
That it's not
because
him.
Yeah.
it was really amazing.
Yeah.
It was like getting to see like one of those documentary movies that's being put out, by
Yeah.
pop stars right now, where it follows them around on tour. It was really, I think they did a really great job with it. Like there were some things that were like questionable, but overall, like I don't feel like I have a bad thing to say about this movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I do. I have one bad thing to say.
Oh, what is it?
The CGI Bubbles was too cartoonish.
Okay. Yeah.
It was too cartoonish. I wanted to care about Bubbles, but I was like, why is there this weird animated thing?
I think all of the animals were CGI, right? I mean, it kind of looked like it to me.
Most likely, I
Yeah.
guess, but I don't know. I guess because Bubbles was supposed to be so emotive, it just
Right.
looked so ridiculous to
Yeah.
me.
It reminded me of that movie that just came out that was like the horror
Oh,
movie with
was it Primate?
primate or
was it? I don't
something
know.
like it looked the same as that
Yeah.
chimp
Yeah.
did. I don't know.
I-
if it's a chimp, but
I just feel like we've come so far cinematography wise. Like you couldn't do a better job
Yeah.
of making it look more realistic. I don't know. I guess that wasn't the priority, but
I guess
Still,
another
there
way
were
to
all
look
these
at it
scenes-
is he said he had rescued Bubbles from being tested on and exploited, so maybe he wouldn't want a real monkey in the movie. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Possible.
Did you guys know Bubbles is still alive? 'Cause
I did
didn't
know
that. I
that,
found
yeah.
that
I
out
just
today.
saw an article about that this
Yeah.
morning. 43 years old. I didn't
Yeah.
even know that they could
I
live
saw
that
this
I
long.
know we're
meme.
the same age.
I saw a meme about that. Like, I think it was last year or something that somebody posted that, oh, Bubbles is living in this, sanctuary or whatever. And it was like, imagine being like living in Michael Jackson's house and like now you just live with a bunch of other monkeys in this sanctuary. Like, what
Yeah.
a downgrade that would be.
And Bubbles probably thinks it's a huge upgrade because it's like more natural.
Yeah,
to him.
I mean,
doubt
I
he's,
guess
like,
it depends on your perspective.
I
you know,
doubt
but-
he's sitting like climbing in a tree and going, I remember when I had 3,000 count Egyptian cotton sheets. I don't think he's doing that.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe if he's thriving, clearly he's doing well because he's been there for like 20 something years now.
yeah. And I think Michael
Um,
Jackson said that he had to get rid of him because chimpanzees reach a certain stage in their development where they'll challenge their owners, like similar to like
Yeah,
a
he
teenager
got
rebelling.
like once he reached adulthood, I guess he got too
Yeah, and
powerful.
so
That
you
was what I
can't-
was reading. So.
You're not supposed to like domesticate.
Well, and
them,
at
I
least he did
guess.
the right thing and didn't,
Yeah,
let him eat his face.
he didn't just dump him in the woods somewhere. Good
Yeah.
luck,
Right.
So
No, I'm sure that all of his animals were very well taken care of
yeah,
because that's for what I get, like peeling back the layers, like behind all the tabloid nonsense. He seemed like a very sensitive, caring human
yeah,
Mhm.
that just kind of got. I don't want to say like the short end of the stick because like, oh, poor millionaire Michael Jackson,
yeah,
poor most talented man alive, but his father only really saw him as a moneymaker.
Mhm.
right. It's
He
kind
never
of
had
a,
the chance to like develop a childhood like with other children and
right. It's kind of
I don't
a
know, like it makes a lot of sense to me that he spent time with kids and old women. Like,
yeah. It's
those
kind
are
of
the
like
people he's surrounded himself with.
it's very like part of his story is very happy that he had all that success, and then there's a tremendous sadness that's almost equal,
Yeah.
because of those things that he missed out on in order to get to where he got.
Well, very early on in the movie, they show his dad beating him with the belt. And
I didn't like that scene at all.
no,
Yeah.
it was very hard to watch,
I-
but particularly our kids were very
Yeah.
disturbed.
I mean,
by
I
it.
think that was actually kind of mild compared. Did you see the miniseries when it came out all those years ago?
I didn't. I'm interested in watching it. But
Yeah,
I did not.
because I watched it when and they went into more depth on that. It wasn't just Michael; it was like all the kids.
Yeah,
he
all
beat-
of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they
Yeah,
and
but Michael was so little.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think
He
I
was
think
only 5 when they started.
there was one scene where I mean I don't know how closely the miniseries mimics real life, but in the miniseries, assuming that it was accurate, which I don't know, I wasn't there obviously. There was a part where Jackie eventually like took him on and was like, "Yeah, you're not going to do this to me anymore. Like I'm an adult now," and like
I mean, that's probably true though. Like they kind of implied that the mom was the one who said it in the movie, but I'm sure the kids at some point were like, "Wait a minute, I'm this tall as him now." You know,
Yeah.
like 'cause like my father used to like slap our hands when we would get in trouble. He'd like put out your hand and he would slap our hands. He never beat us.
yeah,
I remember being around like 12 and he did that and I was kind of like, "What is this?" Like I was like, "Sir, like what are you doing?" So, I'm sure like, if it was worse at some point you get enough's enough.
yeah,
I do really hate that it was just a passing comment in the movie. I don't know if everyone is going to pick up on it. I mean, I would think that you would, but when his dad called him Big Nose,
oh yeah, before the nose job.
I have learned through this film, through other things, apparently his father said that kind of thing to him a lot,
Yeah,
like a lot. So it makes like knowing that, and then because again, the media ripped him apart about his plastic surgeries and stuff.
right.
If your entire life you've been told how ugly you are and you have a big black nose,
Yeah,
which is what he didn't use the word black, he used the other word from what I've seen.
Hmm.
No wonder he constantly had it, shaved down or whatever.
Yeah,
And like the fact that it was his dad, like that, I hate that so much. Like, obviously, he was an abuser and all that, but like, I feel like in some ways, Michael never had a chance because of that kind of stuff. You know?
Yeah. Well, it was right. I mean, did you notice that even when he died, when they interviewed Joe Jackson, it was never like, oh, I loved my son so much. It was just like, he was the greatest entertainer and all. It's like, well, yeah, but like,
Yeah.
he's your son, like that didn't bother you that your son's not here no more. It's just that, oh, well, look how great of an entertainer he is. Like, yeah, he was, but do you feel like you should maybe have something more personal to say about that? Maybe not. I don't know. Everybody grieves
Yeah, but
differently, I
maybe
guess.
he
But
really didn't, because how personal did he know him? You know?
yeah. And the other thing that was weird is that, he says like, oh, well, everything that we have is because of me. And it's like, I mean, you're not completely wrong. I mean, kinda, but like it's between the two of
Right.
you,
It's the kid's
who's it?
talent
Yeah.
is what
Like, I mean,
launched
you
it.
got him through
You
the
had the
door, I
idea,
guess,
but
but like,
yeah.
Okay, so I had a conversation with people at work the other day, and we were talking about Brittany. And I'm not trying to get too far off the topic here, but they were saying that like because her parents sacrificed when she was a child to get her where she got to, that she owes them. And
Nope.
I disagree. And I think in the same sense here, like, oh, he
Yeah.
sacrificed to get them where they were, they owe him. I
Yeah.
don't think
So
so. I don't think that's the case.
Yeah.
I would maybe feel that way if they didn't already reap the benefit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But they've all gotten plenty. Like, she certainly doesn't owe them anything now.
Yeah.
Michael didn't owe him anything past a certain point.
Right.
Um,
Because
and it's
what
hard
you
because
brought
his
them
dad
into the
got into,
world,
like,
and then you decided
right.
that you wanted to put their talent out there in the world to make money as a child. Like, do you think that 5-year-old Michael Jackson said, I want to be a star, put me on Motown?
Yeah.
No, he
Yeah.
didn't make that choice for himself.
No,
Well-
it's so nuts that, like, honestly, any like child star kind of has a similar story because the parents get like crazy and greedy, right? Like, you never really hear about like a wholesome
Yeah.
Yeah.
upbringing for these people.
That's like what happened with John Lennon, where, his dad abandoned him when he was like 2 or something. And then after he made something of himself, then his dad, oh, I'm your dad. And he came around.
Right.
So John Lennon was like, all right, cool. Well, I'll support you for 2 years and then you can fuck off. And that's what he did. He like gave him money for 2 years and he was like, all right, bye.
So I think one of the biggest thing about this film, and why I personally think there's probably going to be a sequel, is because this, while it spanned 30 years,
Yeah.
it really, first of all, it didn't touch on the 70s. Like, there was none of the Detroit part, because like they were talking about like, oh, Thriller. He did Off the Wall, which they mentioned briefly, but was Off the Wall his first album? I thought that was his second album.
I think it was his first. Or first one I am aware of. Maybe there was another one, but
I mean, I'm just either way though, they didn't really touch on the Off the Wall success, and the yeah, that one was released in 79. They jumped right to 83. Like, they were like, hey, he did this, and then this was when everything happened. And while that's true, there was so much, I don't know, I'm kind of glad at the pacing of the film, because there is a lot, and I feel like it would have been too heavy-handed if it was like every single detail.
right. That's got to be tough
But
because you when you have a story like that, you're like, there's so many things.
Yeah.
What do you keep and what do you kind of gloss over and
well, also there was 3 other Jackson children.
yeah. You mean that weren't included
I
in
learned-
the movie?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was the 5 boys and LaToya in the film.
Right.
There are 3 other people.
And there's Rebby and Randy and Janet, obviously. I was
Apparently
reading it.
Janet asked not to be in it.
Yeah, we actually made some when we were taking our notes. We had a list of like things we liked and things we didn't like. The exclusion of Janet was one of the things that I don't know if like we were like super mad about it, but just something we noticed, obviously. And I was reading about that, like you were saying, she didn't want to be in it because I guess she didn't like the script or something like that, or she thought that it wasn't representative of her recollection of the time period. And
That's fair. Well, but also like I think she was born in like 66. So she missed the build up
yeah,
and like how their father treated the boys.
right.
Like so I
I,
don't know. I could see her being like, yeah, this isn't my story. Um but also the original script I think was very different from this because they intended to go further and legally they were not allowed to use any of the trial and accusations and all that because one of the quote unquote victims has some clause that he's not to be portrayed in a film.
oh, interesting. That was one of the things that I had under that category too. Was like
Hmm.
there was no. I mean, and I guess it's one of those things that like there's probably a few reasons. Probably not something they want to talk about a lot. And you know, it's not like we were saying, you can't include every single little thing that happened to him, because you'd be there all day watching the movie.
Yeah.
But it would have been nice to see some of the '90s as well, because they kind of ended it right at bad. And I remember when the movie started and they showed you him getting ready to go on stage for the bad tour, and I leaned over and I said, "Hey, does that mean it ends at bad?" And then it did.
Yeah.
But it would have been, I don't know how in depth or how I would want to see that portrayed, but it just seems kind of weird to just not mention it at all, you know?
I think that was
Well,
a good
so
place to
MJ
stop.
the musical did the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did you see MJ the musical?
I
I don't
have not
remember if
seen
you've
it. I would like
I
to.
wanted to. I didn't get to yet, though.
So I'm sure it'll probably tour at some point, but also I'm sure it's going to get a bit of a resurgence right now. So
Yeah.
come on back up.
Yeah.
Like it's doing well. It's not. There's no like, close date or anything. The pacing of MJ the musical is that he is getting ready for the Dangerous tour, and MTV is there, and they keep trying to interview him, and he's like, "I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you." But then they eventually, it's like a flashback kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like the musical starts and they're prepping for Dangerous, and then they, go back in history, and then they end again where he finally sits down with the MTV VJ, I think. But to the same thing, they don't touch on anything that happened because this is a set point before all
Yeah.
of that happened.
It's kind of, to me, it's sort of like if you did a movie about OJ or something and you were like, OJ was this great football player and he won the Heisman and he was in the Super Bowl and that's it. That's all that happened in the end. And you're just like,
That's all you need to know.
I mean, I think something else happened
Well, okay, but I think it's a little different.
there. I'm just saying it's like a big thing. I'm not saying that they have to necessarily portray it in a positive or negative
Yeah,
light,
but it's such
but
it's
to not
such
mention
a
it at all,
takedown,
it's
you
kind of
know?
strange, you know. But
All of
I don't
that
know.
stuff that happened, and I guess anything like really, I guess what they could do is kind of point out all of the sensational stories about him, because like
Yeah.
every other week there was some nonsense in the news, like
Right.
that he slept in like a cryogenic chamber
Yeah.
and like
Yeah, I mean, they could maybe
But
just show their side of the story. I mean, they don't. It doesn't
right.
have to be an indictment, but to just completely omit it, it seems kind of.
But
It
they
kind of
did,
seems
Well,
like
I
the
guess
elephant in the room,
they
that,
didn't get that far into the story.
right.
Maybe
But I mean,
that's-
but I also feel like maybe part. Well, I didn't know the thing you said about the guy couldn't be used in the movie, but it also kind of seems like maybe that was intentional, so they wouldn't have to talk about it.
but
I
maybe
think
that's
the original, because if you look at some of the stories that are coming out about this film, they kind of had to rewrite it because they couldn't use that. So I think they intended to
Yeah.
go further.
Well, that would make more sense to me. I mean, like I was saying, it doesn't have to be an indictment, but it could just be like, yeah, this happened. This is our side of the story. Believe what you want, kind of thing.
But I kind of like
Right,
that it
because
was
you could show like his friendship with Macaulay Culkin. He
Right.
had friends, like he was friends with children there,
Yeah.
which is why it was very easy to paint this picture
Well, my whole thing
because he
about
was
that,
eccentric and quiet and private, and
I,
you'd see bits and pieces of like, that's kind of weird.
I feel like, some of those people came forward. They have their own stories. They have whatever. I'm not trying to say this happened or this didn't happen. I wasn't there. I'm sorry that whatever happened to these people, whether it's real or whether it's imagined, it seems like a horrible thing to be a part of. But I remember watching some of those documentaries. Like there was one that they did in, I think it was around 2003, and it was called Living with Michael Jackson, with Martin Brashear was the guy, and he went around with Michael Jackson for like a week or something. They gave him like totally open access to whatever he wanted, and it was the way that it was presented was so weird, because it was like he sort of presented it like, yeah, look how he denies these allegations, and clearly that he can't be telling the truth. But the impression that I got from it was just sort of like, okay, so it seems to me like one of two things is happening here. One thing is that he totally did all of this stuff and he's trying to play it off, because some of the things that he says, you're like, come on, man, really? That's your defense. But the other possibility, which might actually be a possibility, is you're like, man, in order for somebody to think or feel these things that you're saying, you would have to be like the most naive person that ever lived. But he might actually be the most naive person that ever lived, because he never had a childhood or anything.
So and maybe I'm stupid. I also have not watched those documentaries. Like I didn't watch Leaving Neverland or whatever it was called.
And
I'm a little curious now, but I also just fully do not believe one of the people who put that out.
Yeah.
And a lot, like there's been so many things where like people were proven to be trying to scam.
Right.
They denied it later. My parents told me to do it. Like,
right. I think it's one of those things where, like, we did watch Leaving Neverland, and I'm like, they seem like they believe what they're saying. And I'm like, I don't want to try to say like, oh, that didn't happen to you. I don't know if it happened to you or not. And if it did, that's terrible. And but it's one of those things of like, how are we ever really going to know? Like, I mean, unless there's some kind of. I
just really do feel like he was naive, and like, there's the line in the film when he says like, I can't be around people. Like all they want to do is look at me.
Uh-huh.
So that's like, as soon as he said that, I was like, he hung out with older women like Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah.
And he hung out with young children who didn't give a damn who he was. Like, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It's weird and strange and sad that a 30-something-year-old man wants to hang around 10-year-old children.
Right.
So I've also heard a lot lately that maybe there was some, like with Macaulay Culkin in particular, and some of the like celebrity children, that he knew about some of those other like Epstein Diddy kind of people.
And he was protecting them.
And he was trying to protect those kids from actual predators. And honestly, that kind of tracks.
Makes sense. Yeah.
It's sort of like you could see it from both, like the case that these, the accusers, I guess, for lack of a better term, the case that they make. I'm like, it doesn't seem like some outlandish thing to say. Like I could see the case that you're putting forward is logical, but the counter to that from Michael Jackson and his camp is also logical. Like, it's sort of like, how do you even decide what to.
Well, and yes, I also, not to be like a crazy conspiracy theorist, but I saw articles about that recently too, that were like, he was trying to protect them, so they took him down, like the powerful.
Yes.
And that doesn't seem that crazy to me either. Like,
no, sadly, it doesn't seem crazy. I mean, and if you go back to like the South Park episode about him, when the cops were like, "Oh, it's a black man," like it's kind of, I mean, it's satirical, but if you watch it again with like that information, you're like, oh, they're onto something too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my whole outlook on the whole thing is like, I hope that didn't happen. If it did, then that I feel horrible for whoever had to go through that. It's not really for me to decide if it happened or not. But if it didn't happen and somebody's trying to drag his name, that's one of the most horrible things you could accuse somebody of, And I don't know. I mean,
Well, and so he was never proven guilty of anything.
yeah.
Every
Ever.
case was
Yeah.
dismissed.
Right.
Well, because
Not
the
dismissed, but not
first
guilty.
time he settled, and then a lot of people were like, "Oh, well, there must be something happening there because he settled." But then it went to trial, and he was acquitted. Now, I mean, just because you were acquitted doesn't automatically mean you're innocent, but like
It
And
just
then-
seems very odd because I'm sorry, but you have to be a pretty sick, depraved, psycho person to do things like he was accused of.
uh-huh.
And it goes against everything else that we do know about him.
Mhm.
Right.
And I totally get there's the idea of like your public image, but like even the stuff we're finding out, even up till now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I just
even
don't-
Lisa Marie Presley, who was his wife,
Right.
still to this day says, no,
Well,
there's
she-
no way that didn't
Well, no,
happen.
She's not saying it to this day.
Well, guys, come on.
But yeah.
But yes,
exactly,
she
'cause
did-
it's
she
such
did
a
say that.
In
weird-
her living days.
and Macaulay Culkin still says absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And it's also possible that, maybe they did not know that part of him and maybe it still existed. It's possible.
Sure,
but
but I feel like
I feel like there's just as much there's just as much evidence against that as there is for, like it's
no, I agree with
Yeah.
that too. I did, but again, like it comes down to like the character of a human being, right?
yeah.
There is, like, I haven't really known any people who do horrible things,
Right.
but I imagine that there are some signs of some kind of like,
Yes.
that person may not be such a great person.
Right. Like maybe somebody
don't
would know
think
about
that
it.
he had
So
any of
much.
that.
Yeah.
And the people that were
Right,
closest
exactly.
to him are saying, no, I'm telling you this, that is not who he was at his core. That could have never
Right.
happened. And it really only seems like the people that are coming out and telling stories, and not to mention that I think, didn't both of those Leaving Neverland guys testify for him in trial and then came back and said, no, we were lying. He really did
Yeah.
molest
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Because they
That's why I
wanted
can't-
money.
Because
Like,
one of them,
ew.
the one that's not Wade Robson, posted something this weekend. Like, sometimes abusers are celebrated and I'm just here with all the victims. And like, bro, just sit down. Like, although apparently his case is going to trial in November.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's just one of those things that like I don't know what happened. If it really happened, then that's terrible. But
yeah,
I don't
it
really
just
feel like there's
it
definitive
seems really
proof.
impossible.
and so
It just
I'm-
seems really impossible.
I'm
I
gonna
know that he's like, there are stories that he let kids sleep in like in his bed and in his bedroom, which
Yeah.
apparently his bedroom was a 2-story like almost apartment in and of itself,
right.
which I didn't know, but that makes sense. I genuinely think it was a case of like not realizing that it was
how
inappropriate.
inappropriate it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, like I was
And at the
saying,
end of the day,
he's got to be
the
naive.
parents are way more to blame
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
on the inappropriate scale. Again, obviously, if things actually happened, whatever.
Yeah.
But
But why did you leave
who
your
in their
kids
right
alone
mind? Yes,
with this
with a
man?
30-something-year-old man that's not
Yes.
related to you.
Yeah.
Even a 30-something-year-old man that is related to you. I wouldn't leave my daughter alone with any man. Ever.
Well, I don't know if that's true. I feel like you wouldn't drop off your kids like with Charlie.
Well, yes, but I mean,
But you know what I mean? Yeah. If
But
if
also
Olivia came home
Charlie
and said,
wouldn't
"We
be
slept
like,
in Uncle Charlie's
come lay
bed,"
in my bed. That's fucking
Right.
weird.
yeah.
right? But I'm saying, like, you would drop your kids off with like your brother-in-law,
Yes, because I
You would
I
not-
know his character.
right? But
yes.
and again, if your kid came home and said, "We slept in Uncle Charlie's bed last night," they probably wouldn't go back to Uncle Charlie's house.
They'd probably, yeah, Uncle Charlie would be dead. So, sorry,
But-
Charlie.
In this case, it's Michael Jackson, because it's not like he was some unknown.
Okay, so yeah, that's the thing. Like, if AJ McLean saw my son on the street and was like, "Hey, come have a sleepover at my house," I'd be like, "Fuck no,
Yeah,
that's weird."
Or like if Brian Luttrell told my kids to get off his beach or something, like you can't be too careful.
Anyway, I'm trying to like, or even a bigger celebrity
No, but
like
exactly.
Tom Cruise. We
If
would
Taylor
never just
Swift
like
asked
let
you,
our
like,
kids go spend the
no.
night at some rando's house. Anyway,
Right, because at the end of the day, he was just some rando. Like,
right.
yes, he was the biggest pop star in the world, but he's still just some guy.
I would
who's
sure as
like,
shit not let my kids spend the night at Britney
I'll have
Spears'
your
house.
kids.
Hell no.
Yeah. And okay, so like Neverland was like an amusement park house. Like it was incredible.
Oh, this is actually
But
one of
yeah, the sleepover thing, no.
one of the things I had on a list. I thought it was weird how they didn't show him purchasing Neverland or anything about Neverland, because they
I
made
know,
all of those
yeah, 'cause then-
references to Peter Pan and everything. And according to my Google research, he bought that
Mhm.
in the late 80s, so that was part of the time period of the movie. It seems weird they didn't
Yeah,
mention it at
and
all.
Something I read said that they restored Neverland for this.
Uh-huh.
So I wonder if they did film things there and then they cut it.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get some
Because of
special features on the
rewrites or
Blu-ray
whatever.
There
or
will be
Yeah.
a set. They made their money back, so
Yeah.
there's
There's an interest there for sure.
Oh yeah, there will absolutely. There's going to
Yeah.
be. So okay, since we already established there are spoilers, it ends. The screen goes black and it says his story continues.
Michael
then the
Jackson
credits
will
roll.
return in Avengers Doomsday.
Right. That's exact. This felt like Wicked Part 2. Like
Yeah. That was the first thing Colin and I said to each other after the movie. We were like, dude, he's coming in Doomsday. And then Colin found this thing on Google AI that said that was right. It was like, yes, he's going to be in Doomsday. I was like, oh, God, look how dumb
course.
AI is. Like, somebody's going to read that and be like, really? No way.
Well, speaking of like random cameos, do you remember when he was in the Men in Black cameo?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That was very funny when he
Yeah.
wanted to be Agent M.
Yeah.
But you know what? That also kind of tracks for him. He like to escape the world and just go be anonymous for a minute. Like,
yeah. Well, he used to go out in disguise. Like, he would wear like old man prosthetic makeup and stuff and go out. And like that was part of the documentary. They'd show him. He'd be like, yeah, sometimes when I'm in a hotel, I just like to race my scooter up and down the halls, and I have arcade games in my room. Like, this seems awesome. Like that's amazing.
see, and that again goes to the fact that he didn't have a childhood and
Yeah.
he just wanted to like have
Yeah.
fun.
Exactly. So that was kind of the opinion
It's so
that
sad.
the
Like,
conclusion I came
when you really
to.
think about his life,
Yeah, it's
he must have
incredibly
been
sad.
it's like
extremely
equal on
lonely.
both sides. There's so much good stuff that happens, so much bad stuff. It's just kind of,
Yeah.
they're equal. But that's the conclusion I came to, was just like some of the stuff you hear him say. I'm like, man, if anyone else was saying this, you're like, you've got to be the most naive person ever. But I'm like, he might actually be the most naive person ever. You
Yeah.
know, like,
I genuinely think he was. I really do.
yeah, it's.
I think that he was like just too like gentle for, and again, like how he didn't want to be scrutinized. So then they just ran with whatever the hell they were like, this will sell papers.
Yeah.
And like, I know like that video he did for Tabloid Junkie, I think it was,
Yeah. Or
with all the random headlines and stuff.
I don't know. I don't remember that one. It might. I don't know if that's
Was
a
it-
different one or the same one, but he also did that in the Leave Me Alone video. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, no,
So-
that's the one I'm talking about.
So I think my final thoughts on the movie, I think obviously they could have made different choices about like starting and ending points, but I think they were intentional in the story they were telling. They were
Yeah.
kind of the lead up to the was now he's free of his father and can
Yeah.
do his
Yeah.
own music.
Well,
and become
absolutely.
his own thing.
Overall, I love the movie. I would definitely recommend people go see it. I thought it was
I did
really cool.
appreciate Michael Myers' cameo.
Yeah,
in
as
it.
soon as I saw him, I leaned to. I said, "Is that Mike Myers? No way!" And it was cool because he was also the record executive in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Right. So are these supposed to be in the same multiverse? Or
I googled it. I tried to see if it was the same character. Apparently, it's not. But I thought that was really neat. I liked.
But the person who directed this was he the one who did Bohemian Rhapsody?
Oh,
believe
I don't
that's-
know. I don't know. Maybe
I think that's
maybe
true.
that's the link. I really liked when they were recording Beat It, and I was like, oh, I wonder if they're gonna show Van Halen, and they didn't. And at first I was like, oh, that's weak that they're not going to mention him. And then the producer, oh, that's some Van Halen stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. At least they acknowledged it. Like, but that was another thing. Like we were talking about the guests on his record. Like he always had really great guitar players. Like Van Halen, he had Slash on Dangerous. Even his touring guitarists were awesome. I think her name is Ori. I'm not sure how you pronounce this, but like Orianthi or something like that. I don't know, but she was his guitarist live, and she was really great. And then I thought it was her when they were doing This Is It, but it was another woman who was also really awesome at guitar. And I forget what her name is at the moment, but anyway, he had really great musicians that played with him.
See, women
obviously.
can play guitar too.
I literally have never said that they can't, but okay, thank you for that. I literally just spent the last couple of minutes talking about how awesome these women guitar players
I'm just reminding
were.
you, women can do anything.
Especially Nita Strauss. You know who she is? She
No.
plays with Alice Cooper. She's amazing.
No idea.
So
Anyway, we love the movie.
Apparently, no, they have the production team and they're different. But I saw something about it, so
did
clearly
you
I didn't
have
pay enough attention?
Did you have any scenes? I mean, obviously you had some scenes, but like, were there any which scenes in this movie did you get like emotional at? And anything in particular?
Oh well, the human nature performance, but that's also because I am a sap and I get upset, or not upset, but I get emotional about my sister.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah.
I got really upset at the beginning, like when he got beaten. That
Right.
upset me a lot.
Yeah.
There was a lot of like chills moments, like
Yeah.
maybe like one of the first, like when he's when he really looked like Michael. If that makes sense. Like with the sequin jacket and stuff, that was like, goosebumps. I feel like it's kind of important to note about like the gangs going to the Beat It film set.
That was really cool.
Because
that really
those were
happened.
real gangs though.
Yeah.
That really happened. Yeah. And again, shows his character.
Just imagine how big of a superstar you have to be to get the Bloods and the Crips to get along together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, because that's the extras in that video are actual gang members.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
Yeah. How about you?
I enjoyed the good reenactment of the Thriller video.
Yes.
Thriller scared the crap out of me when I was little.
Yeah. I didn't get scared of it, but there were a few times in the movie where that made me emotional, and I was glad that the music was loud because I would probably like start crying.
You're crying.
But like,
what made you cry?
The Thriller choreography was one of them.
That was good. When he told them to step back and take the whole, like, the feet.
When he did the Motown anniversary, and I knew it was going to be the first moonwalk, I was like, oh, it's coming. And I think there was probably a couple of times where I like snorted a few times, like almost like about to cry, but you couldn't tell because it was loud in the theater. I was like, oh, I'm glad it's loud in this theater because I don't want to draw attention to myself.
Barry Gordy told him he was proud of him. That was
that
was
So okay, the zombies didn't scare me in Thriller. When they start crawling out of the graves, and I believe that is why I do not like cemeteries at all.
Yeah,
and I think it's because of the Thriller video. Like they creep me out so much, especially like the old ones, like the one by Trinity Church. Nope, those are Michael Jackson zombies that are going to come out of there.
It was cool how they had John Landis, and I mean it wasn't actually him, but they were talking about him directing the video.
Yeah.
And
also Vincent Price's whole voice. Thanks. Still gotta give it the creeps. Yeah, I expected to be a little more emotional actually, because when I saw MJ, I felt like I was gonna cry the entire time.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the difference of like live theater versus a film.
I feel like it's like that for me a lot more now. I don't know if just getting older and having kids makes you sappy.
You're an adult and you've experienced a lot more things in your life.
I watch stuff now and I'm like, oh man, like I feel so stupid that I'm about to cry at this, but
But that's like kind of what I said at the beginning when I was like watching when I was 10 watching those concerts. And I'm like, why are these people losing their shit like this? Like, I genuinely was, almost every time. I was like, why are they crying?
But,
And then when I
like,
was watching
okay.
it in the movie, because I don't know if you paid attention to that, but they were showing a lot of really
Yeah.
emotional fans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like the
but
people that
think
just
about
kept
this
passing
stuff.
out.
If we went now and we saw NSYNC in concert now,
Oh,
we would
full
be
wreck the whole
on
time.
the
Yeah.
fucking floor bawling our eyes
Whole
out.
time.
Well, that's kind
Absolutely.
of what it was like when I saw Oasis, like when we went up and we saw Oasis, and just the whole, like, you don't, obviously, like, when you're a kid you don't think about these things, but for me it was like, oh man, like I'm in this giant stadium watching this band reunite, and it obviously brings back the flood of memories from when you were listening to them, but like my
Yeah.
kid was next to me
Yeah.
and I was like, oh
Yeah,
my
no, that's,
God,
I
like
get it.
this is
I guess I don't entirely get it because I
like,
don't
this
have
is
children.
crazy,
But
you know?
yeah, the emotions are high. I will say though, like I've seen, my favorite band, I've seen them over 30 times, and I did get emotional that time when we met them the first time.
No. Oh,
That was a lot.
yeah.
But like
Stephanie,
they don't make
you're
me
always
cry.
a lot. I love
just
you so
am happy
much.
to be there.
You're a true Aries.
I-
Through and through.
I think another thing that made me emotional about this was the same type of thing, is like, you remember being young when you listen to that. And for
Right.
me, like, I remembered being like with my family and stuff, like my father's
Yeah.
not here anymore. And
Oh yeah, it's good. So like the Free Willy song, my father made his own lyrics to it. And I hear them in my head anytime I hear that song.
yeah,
And I'm sure that that'll hit very differently when my father is no longer here.
yeah,
But in case the audience cares, my dad, and it's like, hold me like the River Jordan and you'll then say to me, okay.
yeah.
So my dad sings, Willie, we got a free Willie, got a free Willie, he needs to be free. So you're all welcome to hear that when you hear that song.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
I was telling Steph the other day, or I don't know, that's probably a while ago, but a lot of times when I hear songs, like I'm a fan of Weird Al Yankovic, and he has like sometimes when I hear the real song, I have to stop and think, like, which version
Yeah.
is this? Which lyrics am I supposed to know? And I was just like, I can only
Absolutely.
imagine that's what being bilingual is like. That's the closest thing to being bilingual that I think I will ever be.
Honestly, it probably, like, I don't consider myself bilingual, but I do know a lot of French. Like I am passable in French, so I guess I technically am bilingual. When you're trying to speak French, I definitely get the, like, what are the right words?
Uh-huh.
And there are people who are fluent in multiple languages. I know they do that, like, because that's why, like, Spanglish is a thing, because
Yeah.
people will, like, start speaking one language and finish it in the next.
I
one.
love how, like, I guess this isn't really much of a thing anymore, but when we were kids and you couldn't stream everything on demand and you had to just watch what was on TV, everybody
Mhm.
had the Spanish channel. There was one channel. Everything was in Spanish. Telemundo, I think it was.
Yep.
It's probably still around. I don't know, but now not as prevalent, at least not in my house because we stream everything. But I used to always love watching the commercials because everything would be in Spanish and then the product would be in
Except for
English.
the proper name, yeah.
And then, I'm like, oh, that they must not have a word for that or something. And I remember the best. I was
It's
telling
proper
Colin.
names, because I still hear I'll hear commercials in Spanish for, like, a Ford or a Lexus or something,
Yeah,
and it'll be like Spanish, Lexus.
yeah.
Like,
I was
it's
telling
mostly, like,
Colin.
the proper names.
I was telling Colin, like, the greatest trailer for a movie that I ever saw was on the Spanish channel, and it was for the movie Bride of Chucky. And forgive me if this sounds racist. I don't mean it to sound racist, but I don't speak Spanish that well, and I'm definitely not going to be able to speak it with any speed. So what I'm about to say to reenact this is just going to be gibberish. And if you're out there and you speak Spanish and you want to do this with English, I will not be offended either. Hopefully you're not offended if anyone out there is listening to this recollection. But this is my recollection of the trailer. It was
So
basically
this is what it sounded like to you.
this is what it sounded like to me. This guy was so fired up, and I was like, I know nothing about this movie, but I need to go see it. He was just like, Bride of Chucky. And I was like, I don't know what happens in this movie, but this guy is so hyped about it. I need to go see it right now.
Oh, Lord.
I didn't actually see it, but I wanted to go see it.
You never saw it?
Yeah. I think I did finally see it later, like on video. Like I didn't go to the theater because I don't know. But anyway, I just remember that being like the greatest trailer that I've ever seen. And then another time that happened to me was working at Lowe's.
Make me laugh though too. Whenever it's like all the language is in one, like it's one language, and then they use the American or whatever.
Yeah, that happened to me at Lowe's one time too. I was working at the customer service desk, and one of my colleagues actually spoke Spanish, and she was explaining something to a customer that spoke Spanish, and she was telling him in Spanish, and then all of a sudden she goes, Lowe's credit card, and then like keeps talking. I'm like, that's amazing. This is like the live Spanish channel, right?
Well, but you know
like,
what's
do it
funny
again,
is
do it
that
again.
there's definitely a credit card. Like there's a word for credit card.
It's tarjeta de credito or something like that.
Wow, that's impressive. Good job.
I know that because the signage had it in Spanish too, so that's how I know.
I will say, back to topic, I genuinely think you guys should see MJ.
Yeah,
and
I would like
was
to
saying
see
about
it.
like the emotion of it.
It came to
because
Jacksonville, and we didn't get to go.
The guy whoever's playing Michael obviously doesn't look like him. Like that's not what they're casting for. So they do their best with the wig and everything, but he doesn't really look like him.
Right.
But the mannerisms, the dancing, all of that, perfect.
His dancing is just... It's the way that he moves. You're like, a person should not be able to do this.
Do you even have bones?
How do you do this?
Yeah.
Like he does the lean and the Smooth Criminal. They made special shoes for them to... He got like a patent.
Spoiler for MJ. They don't do the lean.
Oh.
In MJ, and that is such a letdown.
Yeah.
Because they do the song.
Yeah.
And they don't
why
do
wouldn't
the
you
lean.
do that?
Because they would need the green screen. They can't lean that far.
Although, actually, is it a patent? Could they not get the rights to it?
Oh, maybe
Are the
not.
shoes patented?
I think he got a patent for those shoes. There's something in the
too.
shoes that like allows him to lean
It's a
forward
slit.
like that. Yeah.
They put like the pegs on the stage and there's a slit.
And
maybe they didn't get the rights to it.
Yeah.
I just thought of that while I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
That would make sense. That's the only acceptable reason for them not to do the lean.
Yeah.
Because when they didn't lean, I almost stood up. I was so upset.
Well, now you need to look
I was
into
like,
that.
oh, this is gonna be so cool.
Yeah.
And then nothing. And I was like, what? But yeah, that's obviously the closest I'll ever get to a live performance of Michael Jackson is probably MJ the musical. And I was overwhelmed. And like the audience, I remember we went to the stage door because my friend wanted to see someone specific. And so we're waiting there. And when the guard came out and said, when whatever the kid's name was comes out here, they said, don't touch him. Don't grab him. Like they're talking about Michael. I was like, we're being a little extra here. Like, this is not Michael Jackson. People know it's not Michael Jackson, right? Like, but you wouldn't know it inside. People were going crazy in that theater. It was in the best way. Like, it was a good audience.
Oh.
But
well, now
it was so much.
I'll let you know when I'll be back up there.
Okay. Actually, my friend has a client in the show, so maybe we can get house seats.
That would be great.
Wow. House seats aren't free, but they're just great seats and possibly discounted. But either way, yeah, she has a client in the show. I think he plays the dad, actually.
I feel like we could talk all day. We have so many stories. We could reminisce about Michael forever.
It's Michael Jackson. Yeah.
There's so much to say.
I really hope they do make a sequel and go further into his life. I would be amazing.
Yeah. Do you remember when he died? Like, do you remember like how because that for me, I feel like that was like a moment in history personally.
Oh yeah.
It was
absolutely.
the summer of 2009. Picture it. No.
No, I just mean I remember like because social media was still relatively new.
Yeah.
But I saw that he was like rushed to the hospital like on Twitter.
I saw it on the news.
Yeah. I remember hearing about it.
I was at work.
And I
was at work and I happened to see my phone and then like I could not concentrate.
Yeah.
And I had to go outside and get air when he died.
Okay. Am I wrong that I feel like it was during the Casey Anthony trial? Is that wrong?
Maybe.
That might be
possibly.
wrong.
I don't.
Maybe not. But I feel like I was watching some kind of like trial or court TV because it was summer and I was home. And then they like the breaking news came in and I was like, No, this isn't real.
That
Because
was-
you know
Stacey
they.
Anthony was the year before, so they might have been discussing it because it was literally.
So maybe that was
Oh, I
like when
don't
the
know.
verdict came down.
No. Sorry, she died in June 2008. So yeah, maybe something was going on
Yeah.
that summer.
But I remember I was watching some kind of court TV, and it came in as like breaking news. But there had been other like Twitter things in the recent past where they had said like, oh, he died or he this or whatever. So I was like, oh, it's probably just
Well,
another fake.
I don't know if you remember, but in 2009, a ton of celebrities died, like in close proximity to each other, and a lot of them were real, and people were also putting out
Yeah.
hoaxes.
Yeah, the hoax ones always confuse me. I don't understand why people do that.
Yeah, I remember I had the same reaction, like, yeah, whatever, he didn't die, that's not for real. That's kind of the reaction I
Well,
have when
so-
they say anybody
But
died now.
I saw like maybe it was TMZ, I don't know, but I saw like the ambulance was at his house. They took him away.
Yeah.
We don't know what the status is. Like it was like I remember almost like real time
Yeah.
of like, okay, is he dead? Is he dying? What's going on? And I could not concentrate.
I remember
It was horrible.
it kind of got to the point, and it's still at that point now, when you hear somebody famous died, where hopefully the first reaction is like, oh man, that's terrible that somebody died.
You have to fact
But
check it.
we had to fact check it. But my second reaction is always like, oh god, now the people are going to be talking about this on TV nonstop for the next 6 months. You know,
I feel that sometimes. I personally, I know we're kind of doing it right now, but I kind of hate how people internalize celebrity deaths.
yeah,
Like it's not about you.
yeah,
But every time a famous person dies, everyone has a story,
yeah.
Yeah.
you know? And that it kind of bugs me. I don't know. I mean, there are some that hit way harder than others, obviously, and it'll change for any person. Like not everyone feels the same way about every celebrity, but like Michael was probably at the time the hardest one I
Yeah.
ever personally dealt with.
I made a really
I drove out to Brooklyn and I went to a bar with my stepsister because she's also a huge fan of his. So I texted her. I was like, "You good? Like, are you okay?" And then and she was fine, but like I went out there and we had a drink and kind of toasted to Michael.
I remember I played Billie Jean at a show that I did that probably didn't do it justice, but as far as anybody knows, it was amazing. It was the best cover of Billie Jean that's ever existed. And you can't prove that it wasn't unless you were there.
You know,
which
I
you
used
probably
to say that "Come Together" is a song that is impossible to have a bad cover of
weren't.
because like Michael has a version.
Yeah.
Obviously the Beatles,
Right.
Aerosmith has a version. A lot of artists have sung this song.
Right.
I went to a club downtown, a music venue, and there was a metal band playing it,
Yeah.
and it was absolute garbage.
What
And
are
I
you
was like,
doing?
well, I stand corrected.
Yeah. I remember I made a
Okay.
really great, at least from my perspective, it accomplished my goal. It was a really great dad joke before I was ever close to being a dad. But it was going back to that thing of where people, when somebody dies, they don't ever shut up about it. And, you know, obviously at the time when he died, it was all over the news every day, 24 hours a day. And I'm just like, how much are you going to report on the story? He died. That's it. Like, what else do you have to say? And so, like, every time somebody would bring it up, I would say, oh, yeah, he died. Did you hear about that? And I remember, like, they talked about it in my class one time. I was taking classes over the summer, and somebody brought up Michael Jackson. I was like, oh, hey, he died. And the whole class at the same time was like, oh, like rolling their eyes, like, well, get a load of this guy. He doesn't know. And I'm like, little did you know that was the reaction I was going for, because that's my point. Like, shut the fuck up about it already. We know he
Well,
died.
and they kind of foreshadowed it in the film too, when after the Pepsi accident, and he's like, I don't want painkillers. I don't want to be on drugs.
Kind of
And
foreshadowed.
obviously,
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember I had to get surgery done one time, and they told me they were going to give me propofol, and I was trying to remember, like, where do I know that from? And I thought it was the drug that Dexter uses, but then later I was like, no, it's the thing that killed Michael. Now I know what it is. And I didn't realize it until I woke up, and I was like, but then I woke up from it, I was like, I could kind of see why he liked this, though. This is pretty awesome. They were like waking me up, like, you got to go home now. I'm like, I'm good. I'm just going to sleep for a little while. They're like, no, you can't
Yeah,
stay here.
I definitely think that they intend to put out a second part also because like most biopics will end with like, the text on the screen
Yeah,
of like, here's what we didn't cover.
right.
And they didn't do that.
Yeah, I was thinking something like
So,
that might happen. Like he went on to sell blah 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 records and
right.
that kind of thing. But I would just like to say though, I am kind of on board for him showing up in Avengers. If that would be pretty cool.
Well, it would be pretty cool
Yeah.
now because he's
Yeah.
been gone a while.
Yeah,
so-
maybe they could CGI that somehow, or that'd be kind of cool to see.
Well, Jafar could play
Well,
him.
Yeah.
his ghost was in South Park after the Mr. Jefferson video or
Alright.
episode, so
There you go. It's
Maybe.
possible.
you never
I
know.
know.
Well, thank you guys for inviting me to chat for almost 2 hours about Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I feel like
and
this
other
was
things.
this was longer than we intended, but it was also a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This is great.
We need
Well,
to do
feel
this
free to selectively edit. Obviously, we did go on a few tangents that might not need to be in the
more.
final.
Travis doesn't edit.
Yeah,
Stephanie.
usually with these podcasts, I just let them roll. I just put them out there.
This might have to be a part 1 and a part 2 though.
Maybe
you
not.
go.
Some podcasts are like 2 hours long.
You know what? You should be like, the episode continues.
Yeah, just break it up. That's what I do. Some podcasts I listen to, they're a couple hours, and I just listen to them on the way to work over the course of a few days, and something to do.
I'm saying pull a Michael
But yeah.
and just stop it halfway and then
Our
say,
our
"You have
story about his story will continue. Maybe it might someday.
Yeah. And exactly, like they didn't even get into like the history album
Yeah.
and there's so much that happened in the
So-
90s.
And I think that
Yeah.
they're on track to make a lot of money with this movie.
Yeah.
So it stands to reason that there
But
would be
is
interest.
anyone surprised? Like imagine Michael Jackson flopping at anything. Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was never gonna happen.
Yeah. And it's probably one of those things like eventually it might happen if you like we're gonna make 10 of these and you're like by the number 10 you're like
Yeah.
okay, well I don't care what shoes he wore that time or but, like at least
Well, so apparently that is something that Questlove made a post about the movie and he said that like halfway through he stopped criticizing, but like at the beginning he was like, that's not the outfit he was wearing. He didn't wear that jacket till this. He didn't.
right.
So there are continuity issues, I guess, if
Yeah.
you want to nitpick it. But
Right. Yeah, it
doesn't
depends
make a
how
difference.
crazy you want to get with it, but
yeah.
overall, I enjoyed it. I would recommend people go see it.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
What's
I'll
your
see
rating?
I'll see another one if they make it, I'll definitely see that. So,
So is it 5 stars? Good holiday fun? Like
yes, absolutely.
10 out of 10.
I was going to say 2 thumbs up, but
Yeah.
maybe like you're standing on both tiptoes or something. I don't know what the equivalent for Michael Jackson would be.
One sparkly glove.
sequin glove.
Yes.
Oh, one thing that like I noticed in the beginning they showed like they did with all his movies, his feet walking out and then he jumps on the toes and it says the production
Yeah.
company and it used to say MJJ Productions and now it was like whatever company did this movie and I was like, oh, I was really hoping it was going to say MJJ, but
Yeah.
whatever, it's fine.
Maybe the next one would. 'cause
Maybe the
he's-
next one they'll bring it back,
Yeah.
All right, well.
Yeah, and they didn't touch on Captain EO either. Which
Yeah,
was in the
Captain
70s.
EO. I
He
was
did
going to
his
talk
thing.
about that. Yeah. That was one of my experiences with him because at the time,
And The
I was-
Wiz. When was The Wiz?
I don't know.
70s for
Yeah,
sure.
Diana Ross
Oh,
was in that
okay.
with him. But the
I wanna
Captain
say
EO,
77.
I remember the first time I went to Epcot. It was in the 3rd grade, and I was a real big fan of his. About that time that I started really listening to him, and I was thinking like, oh, that'd be really cool if they had something here with him. And they did. They were like, they do have something here. I was like, no way. And it was like in 3D and everything. It was just.
And they brought it back.
And they brought it back when he died.
Colin was
They
a
did.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, we took him.
Yeah.
So I remember his passing.
Yeah,
rolling
I
across
remember
the
that it
floor.
was
Yeah.
because they brought it to
the
land
Honey,
too.
I Shrunk the audience place.
Yeah.
That same theater.
Yeah, that's the theater in the
Mhm.
Imagination Pavilion.
Yeah.
But they brought it to Disneyland also because, and it had never been there because it was an Epcot
Yeah.
thing.
interesting.
By the way, the Wiz was 78. I checked, but
Okay.
yeah.
Well, like you said,
well,
they
I don't know how
skipped
you
right
guys
over the
closed this
70s.
out. So
All right. Well, thank you again to Steph for joining us. We check us out on the platforms if you want. Instagram.
At Life in Pics Pod on Instagram, Life in Pictures Podcast everywhere else. And by everywhere else, I basically just mean Facebook. But
Rate, share wherever you listen to us because we're awesome. And let us know if you like this format and you want us to have Stephanie back, because this was a lot of fun for us.
Yeah, maybe we'll have other guests on in the future too.
Or maybe we'll just have
We'll have a
Steph
big old
again,
group
Maybe
project.
we can get Brian on here with us. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay.
I
go ahead,
can't believe
close it.
that you guys just tricked me into joining your podcast. I don't see movies though, so unless we talk about old ones, I'm not gonna have anything to say.
We talk about everything. We talk about TV sometimes too. Clearly, somebody isn't supportive and doesn't listen to our podcast. So, thanks for outing yourself. I don't know about you, but I have personally listened to every episode of Radio Mickey Side B and What's the Deal with This Pop Life. Don't ask me any questions about what happened on any of them, but I can personally tell you I've listened to all of them. And I'm very offended that you haven't listened to all of these.
I have listened to this podcast. I have not listened to every episode. I have listened to it though,
That's fair.
and I see you post about it.
I'll be fair though. Sometimes I'm not even lying though. Sometimes I do play the Pop Life one in my car when I'm driving home.
Thank you.
Every once in a while. Sometimes.
Because we're fun. We're
Sometimes.
fun.
I don't know if that's weird or not that you're like, let me listen to my wife as I drive home to my wife.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fun. I feel like we're all having a nice conversation about, whatever you were talking
Well, that's
about
what the
that
fun
week.
thing is about podcasts. It should feel conversational.
Yeah, it's nice. Just talk about
All
stuff.
right. We love you.
All right, I have to take my dogs out, so
All right.
Phoebe's
Well,
been very
thank-
patient. So I'll talk to you guys soon.
all right. Sounds good.
All right,
Okay.
bye.
Bye. Okay. Well, there you have it. Thanks again, everybody, for listening. Check us out. Leave us a review and a like and all that other stuff. And until next time, enjoy the show.